Thank you. I can hear myself in there.
The echo.
Okay.
Oh, he just judged you.
He did. Good evening, everyone. This is the Hyannis Main Street Waterfront Historic District Commission. This is November 6, 2024, 6:30 p.m. To all persons deemed interested or affected by the Town of Barnstable's Hyannis Main Street Waterfront Historic District Commission, ordinance under Chapter 112, Article 3, or the Code of Town of Barnstable, you're hereby notified that a hearing is being held, Town Hall, 367 Main Street, Hyannis, Mass. Selectmen's Conference Room, second floor, 6:30 p.m. on Wednesday, November 6, 2024. This meeting of November 6, 2024 is being recorded and broadcast on the Town of Barnstable's Government Access Channel in accordance with MGL Chapter 30A, Section 20. The chair must inquire as to whether anyone else is recording this meeting, and if so, to please make your presence known. If I could ask everyone to please silence their cell phones or put it on vibrate or whatever it is you do with it. I will now call this meeting to order. So, Commissioner Perry Wentworth.
Here.
Commissioner Conrad Watson let us know that he would not be able to make it. Commissioner Kevin Matthews.
Here.
Commissioner Cornelius Crowley also let us know that he could not be here. Commissioner Hinckley Needham also is not able to attend. Commissioner Matthew Clark.
Here.
Commissioner Laura Cronin.
Here.
Commissioner Jack Kay said that he would not be able to be here. Commissioner Tom Doherty.
Here.
And I, Commissioner and Chair Cheryl Powell, am also here. We do have quorum. We have we have 4 full members, and we have 2 alternates present tonight. So both alternates can vote tonight.
Thank you.
Sure. So that being, why am I putting that up there for? Okay. So we called it to order. We've done the roll call. Next thing would be trainings. I've given out to everyone a clarification. The question came up with a recent meeting that we had where it was very odd, and even I had never encountered it before, whereby our majority vote was to abstain. Nothing wrong with it. Everybody has the right to vote as they see fit. But I wanted to know how that was counted. Abstentions are counted towards quorum, but they are not counted either positively or negatively in the vote. That's to establish a quorum, but they don't count as yays or nays at all. So somebody had mentioned that because it was to abstain, that therefore it was a no vote. That is not true. It doesn't count positively or negatively. So I wanted to find something in writing that has clarifications on abstentions and recusals, just for everybody's edification. I thought it would be quite helpful for people to have that. So that means, and also anyone that needs to do conflict of interest training, please get that done at your leisure. Nothing on awards tonight. We don't have any correspondence, correct? Right. Okay. We went over the purpose and proper procedure last time. We don't need to do it each time. So, new business tonight. Karina Hernandez, DBAL Mariachi, Loco, 569 Main Street, Unit D, Hyannis, map 308, parcel 111. Hi, welcome. If I could ask you to sign in, please, and then to state your name for the record.
My name is Karina Hernandez.
Okay. Welcome. Tell us a little bit about your project.
So we,
Madam Chair, do I recuse myself
yes,
before or
thank you,
after?
and thank you for reminding me. If you could make that clear.
I am the abutter of this property and received an abutter's notice, so I will not be speaking as a historic member. I would be speaking as the public.
Thank you very much for clarifying that. Please tell us.
so what we are trying to do is just add a little bit of coverage to an area where we have no coverage. We want it to be a place where right now customers have to stand outside. They have to wait in the rain. It's all takeout. We have 6 seats inside. So once you have at least 3 people in there, it gets kind of crowded. Unfortunately, some customers have to walk away. They don't want to wait in the rain and the cold. So we want to add a tent. When I first sent in the application, it does not show the sides. It was warmer outside, but now at this time it's getting cold. I want to add the sides. Give the customers outside a chance to wait, at least outside for a little bit till the food comes out. The longest the customer waits to get their food is about 10 minutes. They're in and out That's just really what we want, just the customers to be able to wait and where it's not pouring down on them, the snow isn't falling on them, and then that's about it.
Anything else?
No.
So I am going to ask the commissioners if any of you have a question as to the presentation.
Is this going to be up year-round?
Yes, the sides, it comes with sides which are not on, but they would be during the winter. In the summer, we take the sides down. It is really strongly structured in.
Is the tent already there?
Yes. Unfortunately, I did not know that I had to go through historical when I did the application, it didn't show historical on there. The tent is taken down, but the poles are still there. We just left the structure there. The tent is down.
So is the tent just for people to wait for their food, or is that going to be a eating area that people can now eat outside under the tent if they want to?
Well, we would be leaving the tables there, but in the winter, I don't think people really want to sit in there. We're not going to provide a lot of, how do I say this? We don't really want the customers to stay there and eat because, well, it's cold. It's just a vinyl tent. It's not really
Right, but during like the summer season or the spring season or fall, whatever, when it's nicer weather, you expect they'll probably sit and eat out there?
Of course, yes.
For a permanent structure, I'm just looking at the few pictures here. It looks very temporary, with the aluminum poles and, I guess you're going to put flap sides
Yes.
on it for the winter, like,
Yes.
you put up a tent in the backyard for a party. Any thought of, if you're going to have tables out there, to make it a true eating area, and maybe with wood, or, I know Hyannis Inn just put a big tent in, but it's beautiful, with all wood, and it looks permanent. To me, this looks temporary.
Yes.
But something that's going to be year-round.
Well, right now, entering the winter years, we don't really, let's say, have the budget for that. That's why we kind of want to start a little bit simpler. The aluminum poles are nailed in, structured into the cement, so they are strong. But we are thinking about doing something a little bit better, closer to the summer season.
I always like to go last on the questions. Are there any more from the commission? So you touched on something, Tom, about, I don't think you've been before us before for the tent, correct?
Correct.
So it's not just for the side, it's for the tent itself, and it's 15 by 30. And we had approved a tent before, but it was like for season. And generally, those go through the town if it's a temporary deal. But if this is a tent for permanence, what do the abutters around you say? Because
I have not received any correspondence about the abutters.
Okay. So, and the thing that you gave to us is it's 15 feet by 30 feet and 10.9 feet, 10 feet 9 inches, so almost 11 feet high.
That is the exact measurement from the awning we had before, and then as far out as we have on our private property.
And I appreciate you being exact, thank you. And it looks like it's also lit from the outside. Any other questions on the presentation? I'm going to ask staff if there's anything you wanted to put in.
Corey Pacheco, Senior Planner. So for clarification from the building department's end, the zoning code 240-9 for temporary uses, section D, tents. So tents are subject to annual approval by the building commissioner. Tent may be erected and used as a temporary accessory structure to an existing permanent business, and the tent shall conform to all parking requirements and bulk or dimensional requirements of this chapter. So if you do approve the tent, it can be up for no longer than a duration of 180 days per building code. And it would have to be, the applicant would have to reapply every 180 days with you for approval, but also through the building department. And Applicant would also have to go through the site plan review committee first to see if it's actually feasible.
For a temporary?
Yep, for a temporary structure, yep.
Okay.
So just a quick clarification, so none of that has been done yet, is that correct? Like, through the planning?
Yeah, not to my knowledge, no.
Okay.
Have you done any of that yet?
Well, I went through what was online. So I went through the building, I went through, I believe, health, and what I was told was last was, oh, and I went through the fire department as well. Last part was historical.
But have you gone, you've already said you did not contact the abutters.
I didn't receive any notifications, so no.
Well, you asked them for whether they're written to and then see if they, what they feel. But also, you have not done the site plan review, correct?
Correct, because, yeah, correct.
Okay. So that's what I wanted to clarify, so thank you for clarifying on that.
Yeah, I was not aware of site plan review.
And that's
I'm sorry.
fine. No, you don't have to take a test before you come in here.
I know.
I would fail, so I mean, that's good.
So, all right. So if there's no more questions on the presentation, right, I am going to open for public comment. We have one for public comment who is not speaking as a commissioner and will not be voting.
And as a public. Good evening. My name is Laura Cronin. I am an abutter of the property that is proposing this tent on Main Street. I did happen to see it when it was up for about a week or so, and I think from a aesthetic standpoint, I think it's very large, and when it covers that area, you're walking down the Main Street, and it's really it takes over the whole area and not just kind of in front of the establishment. And it just kind of blocks the view from different perspectives. There's restaurants both sides, and I think from a Hyannis Main Street aesthetics, just from as being a member of the public, using a lot of the facilities like Palio Pizza or Columbo's, there's a lot of ways to be able to accommodate having an outside seating area that is more pleasing and aesthetically nice to the public. I just think the tent is just too big for the area. When the sides are on and when it was up, it was very, very dark. And I know that there's lights and stuff on there as well. And I think that if there's there's also a courtyard that's area in there as well. So I'm thinking that from looking at it, I think maybe just a little bit too big for the area, and there could be another way to accommodate what they're trying to do for accommodating the public. But there's a lot of public that walks by there, and I think that from the public standpoint, I think it just is overwhelming to go by that. And I, as a neighbor, I would not like to see that this going down all the way down Main Street as people are trying to cover their areas when there's other options for people to do, and they have done. So I would vote against.
But you're not
I'm
voting.
not in favor. I'm not voting. I'm not, as a public member, I'm not in favor of this structure on Main Street. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else for public comment? I always wait for people to come rushing through the door.
I have a question for staff.
Yes.
Does the size of the tent meet with the town if the application part was appropriate? Is this a size that would fall under the appropriate size?
I think that would have to be determined by the site plan review committee first.
Okay, so
Yeah.
so
you would approve the
so we
aesthetics
haven't,
of it?
so we're sort of missing a step at this point?
No, we're not.
We're not missing a step.
We do not take the place of planning. We do not take the place of the site plan review. We are here for the aesthetics historical character as per our purview. Do we think that this is in keeping with the historical character
Oh,
as per the purview
Okay, okay, thank you.
for here? But if we approve it, then it goes on to there. But it is a very valid question because it goes into the whole character and keeping.
Could I ask a quick question? But wouldn't it make more sense to get site plan review and the building commission involved so we know if it fits in what it's supposed to be? Then we can decide if that's, I kind of agree. I think we're trying to vote on something that we don't even know is going to be right. If we might say, sure, that's 10 by 30, and they go to site plan, that can only be 10 by 15. Well, now we voted 1030. I just think it should follow those steps. So that way we don't have to work to approve something we don't know if it's even right to approve yet.
Usually it comes to us
I
first.
was concerned about the aesthetics of it.
Yeah, both. I think that's, for me, it's both.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I have a question for you. So I have eaten there,
Oh, thank you.
enjoyed myself very much.
Thank you.
Can you help me with the front of the building there? It looks like you have limited space for the inside of the building itself.
Yes.
And so are you finding this as your alternative for not being able to accommodate people inside?
Yes.
You can accommodate a little bit inside, but
We can very
but
little.
just very little?
Yes,
Okay.
very little.
And so on the outside, did you ever consider an alternative like a canopy that extends off of the building?
No, honestly, we didn't. I mean, I'm open to suggestions, but this is kind of what we thought would be something better, I guess,
Yeah.
because we've seen that with the restaurants
Right,
around down Main
right.
Street have them. So we
Yes.
thought, well, okay, that would work.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, canopy would be less overwhelming, but usually the procedure is it comes to us first. I think, can we actually send it for site plan review first?
Well,
But-
so the application has been filed online, and so that's what triggered the application to this commission. So the
Yeah.
building department has done a cursory review. They're not going to sign off on zoning until all the check boxes have been completed, which is
Yeah,
this
that's
commission
what I
and
thought.
also site plan
Okay.
review.
That's right.
All right.
We're one of the check boxes.
Okay.
Think of it as gatekeepers.
But ultimately, I mean, so the size of it in terms of zoning is not necessarily in the purview, but the size of it in terms of the form and the massing and how it relates to
Yeah.
the surrounding area is certainly within your purview.
I
Sure.
agree. I agree.
All right, then I'll make a comment then on it. Ms. Hernandez, I kind of want to agree with the public comment speaker, the abutter. I think it's large. It's really large, and I think it's going to dominate that whole area. So size is an issue for me. But I also agree with Commissioner Doherty. I think it looks like something you put out for a tent at a backyard party, and then they come and they rip it off. It doesn't look like something you want to be permanent, that's used all 4 seasons or something like that. I just think it has a very carnival kind of look to it, and I don't mean that disrespectfully. I'm just being honest. It just looks like a tent you threw up for a party, and now we had the party, and we got to get the guys to take the tent down. And so that's my issue with it as well. I just wish it was more of a, if you want it to be more of a permanent structure, that it was designed that way.
Okay. Okay.
I agree. I feel that's how I see it as well. I hadn't thought of the canopy idea. That might be something to consider. But, all right, so I am going to, is there a deliberation? How do we feel about it? You've already done some of the
Yeah, I
deliberation.
mean, again, for me, the size and the structure of it, to me, doesn't fit, or the design of it doesn't fit what we're trying to, what we're trying to accomplish on Main Street.
But I would look into the canopy idea.
Sure.
Because those canopy, they are large areas, and they can retract in bad weather, where you're going to have to keep this up in the wind on Main Street in the winter and everything else.
Northeasters.
It could be a great option.
Well, if it was able to put up as a temporary structure, then we would take, the tent down when there was a storm coming, things like that. If that's an option, but if it's definitely not an option, then we'll definitely look into the.
But it would be only when there is a storm, so I think it's more of a permanent structure. All right.
Yeah, and if I'm just what Corey had said, it looks like you got a 5-month situation where every 5 months you got to go over and over and over again to the building department.
180 days.
Yeah, so, which is 5 months. So every 5 months you do that, and if it's a more permanent structure, maybe you wouldn't need to go through that red tape all the time, because it would be something not like a tent like this that looks temporary, it'd be something more permanent.
Yeah.
Maybe you wouldn't
Well,
have to deal with that.
How many times can you go for that temporary?
Isn't it?
Renew.
Yeah. Yeah, it's indefinite.
So that seems like, for me, if I owned it, that'd be a
Arduous.
pain in the butt. So maybe it's something, if it's more structural, maybe you don't, and again, I don't know the answer to that, but maybe you wouldn't have to do that.
I hear.
Question for staff. So we didn't hear about what a permanent structure how that would apply if it was attached to the building
Be an extension.
extension, and
Yeah.
would that come under permanent structures instead of temporary?
Yeah.
An
Something
extension
that
would,
would be
yes.
permanently anchored to the
Permanently anchored?
ground.
Okay.
Or to the building.
And people do apply for permanent extensions to be put on, and then that would still come before us for the historical character of it. Okay. I am going to close public comment, and, oh, sorry, Tom, were you about to?
No.
Oh, you look like you might have been about to say something. Okay, so I'm closing public comment, and I am going to invite, and was there anything else you wanted to say?
So it's also no for temporary?
Well, we haven't done the vote yet.
Oh, that was my only question.
So, would one of the commissioners like to make a motion on the findings? You can either use the approval or the denial, or the approval and it can be denied, or the denial and that can be denied, and whatever you want to do. Would one of the commissioners like to make a motion on the findings, please, with regard to
569.
569 Main Street, Unit D, Hyannis, map 308, parcel 111?
Sure, I can do that. I move that the commission deny this application as it not be compatible with preservation and protection of the district. Again, at 569 Main Street, Unit D, Hyannis, map 308, parcel 111.
It is seconded, okay. I would just remind Commissioner Cronin, you're not voting. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so all the rest of us are voting. Commissioner Matthews?
Aye.
Commissioner Clark? Commissioner Doherty?
Aye.
Commissioner Wentworth?
Aye.
I also say aye. So we don't really go for the certificate of appropriateness, so on this one, it has been denied. But what I would like to add to that is please feel free to come back to us with some sort of canopy or permanent structure, something else that isn't quite so imposing.
Okay.
Because we always try to make things work for the applicants, but we also have to protect the historical nature and things. And when you do, I would suggest that you contact your abutters. Do you know what an abutter is?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, just to see if they will come in and support whatever it is that you're doing, and not blocking them either.
Okay.
All right?
Just to ask you a question.
Sure.
If it's not out of line to do the preliminary, even though she doesn't have to go before them, before she comes to us, if she went to them before, it would really help clarify what their opinion is on that as well?
She can, but I think they'll usually want those boxes ticked beforehand. They'll refer her to us, will they not?
Are you referring to site plan
Yeah.
review? Yeah, I mean, you can go through informal, but I mean, if we're talking about like awning or canopy, they're not really going to have much to say about it other
Yeah.
than go through the proper permitting
Exactly.
process.
We're one of the boxes.
I guess I'm just.
Oh, there's no elaboration.
Oh, no. I was just going to offer, just as I'm listening to the conversation, we do have a local facade improvement program, and we should be having a grant round here in the near future, so I can certainly give you my card. You can
yes, please.
reach out, and we might be able to help you with something in the future.
That's an excellent idea.
Can I get that? The front of my house really needs some stuff done.
I could use a good canopy.
I just see a couple of, I think I remember a couple of canopies there. Are they temporary? I mean, do you have a couple of overhangs, some little overhangs
thank you
that
very
are
much.
there now? Am I seeing those in the picture?
Those Those are umbrellas. Can't.
The red and the blue here in this picture, in the background there up against the building, the top of the building.
This
I
right here
see
is
what she's
our.
talking about, yeah.
This was the old awning.
Is that not there anymore?
No,
Okay, and how about,
that's not ours. That's the Gold Cheese Gallery. That's a different business.
oh, that's different. Okay, so this is, this was there, but it's not there anymore.
No, we took it down for to put the poles for the tent.
Oh,
Yeah. So no.
okay, okay, thank you.
Oh, yeah,
It's 5 million already.
Okay. So I apologize, but, it is our job to kind of protect.
if somebody
but
walks
There's
in.
some ideas there, and I think they're good ones.
Yes. Yep.
So it's an invitation to please feel free to come back to us.
Hold on, I got some here in my bag.
Yeah.
And you can always contact, staff, and they'll help you on ideas on what to do. Okay? Thank you very much. You have a good evening. Drive carefully out there.
You as well.
Thanks for coming in. Good to meet you.
I should have just taken it.
I knew if Jim was going to do the right thing with him. I mean,
I just
who can
think
trust him?
they must remove the bins out front. Balance.
Well, on the matters not reasonably anticipated by the chair, I was going to ask
Could I would
Jim.
like to ask something.
Yeah.
If, actually, with regard to not this particular situation, but just in general, whereby because I remember when we first looked into it, it was said, yes, they had applied, but it was a temporary, and temporary items don't come before this commission. And I was wondering why that was.
That
If
gets
it-
redirected differently. I mean, we have people who put a tent up for a wedding or something.
Correct.
And then that's handled differently through the town.
Right, and I think through the staff report, it says, it's for residential purposes and no longer than 10 days in connection with that, the permit, which would make sense if you were having it. But to have it 180 days, that's 6 months.
Well, and 5 months, but you can come back, every 180 days and renew it and renew it. Is it 5 months or 6 months?
Well, 180 days is 6 months.
6 months.
Somebody said 5, yeah.
You don't have to
Somebody
come back.
said,
You
yeah.
can just keep doing the.
But that's why I
temporary-
wanted to know if,
No,
Oh, but she has to do it.
Got it
But if
approved,
she
yeah.
does get it, then she can just continue
she got the approval for the,
months.
she got the approval
Yeah.
for the tent, but according to, right?
Right, it was a
According to Brian
temporary,
Florence, it
It
was
was a
a temporary.
and then we, from contact about a temporary tent that maybe wasn't so temporary, we reached out and we stated that, 180 days is a little more than temporary in this world, so we would recommend offering it to the commission, and so that's
Yeah.
how it's before you.
So is it possible to have us take a look at, where they do it in residentials or whatever, they appear to have it like as a 10-day or something? Is there a way that we could have them come before us, or is that like a regulation, statutory, or whatever, code, administrative code? What's the 180 days, and why would temporary be eliminated from the
You can't
review?
go beyond the 180 days with it. It's not temporary anymore.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. I guess that's what I'm saying, is 180 days is 6 months. And if everybody did this in the historic district for 6 months, they could continue to doing it and not have to ever come before us. And I just didn't know why temporary was eliminated through the historic when it is 6 months and not 10 days.
Well, because they don't come to us for temporary so much. We had to have how when it came to us, but it is done through the town. Isn't it through the building department?
Yeah, so I've had conversation with the building department about tweaking the checkoff for that, because yes, their definition of temporary is 180 days.
Right.
And so something more like 10 days seems to be,
Yeah.
because we're really talking about events,
Right.
Well,
Exactly.
when you were out, I was saying things
Yeah,
like weddings.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, or even on Main Street, you want to have something on Main Street, it's temporary, you take it down after the
So we're
event.
working on that through
Okay.
the administrative process to be able to
Yeah.
start catching these to come to you guys.
Okay, all right, that would be, thank you.
That's
I have a totally
good questions.
different question.
Sure.
So as you come up Main Street and past the old TD Bank building,
Yep,
directly across the street from that is,
The church.
yeah, and an open space.
Yep.
And the open space looks like it's barricading in a way so people from behind it won't come forward with what looks like big square box planters, but there aren't any plants in it. They look like giant building blocks. Anybody notice those?
Yeah.
With rather bold colors.
Yeah.
I just wondered if, have they ever been before us?
No, that's something I wanted to
I
ask.
just wondered if it was,
Good catch.
if it is or
Yeah.
isn't.
There was something in the paper about them. It was, I
It's an
think,
art project, isn't it?
yeah, it was
Yeah.
a bid or something.
It's an art project.
Cultural Center did an art project with the neighborhood or the community to create those. And they kind of travel to different events, really. That's what's going on. So right now, there was some event a couple weekends ago, I think. for
Yeah,
that,
I think
and-
there was, yeah.
Yeah.
So it is temporary, it's an art project. But there are some others that have gone up I want to bring to the town's attention. Yep, go ahead.
Sorry, and I know somewhat on those lines, the asset management is working to put together kind of a letter to all property owners about kind of almost encroaching on public spaces. So, all that stuff that's in the sidewalks that,
Yeah.
may or may not be licensed. So kind of putting that out there to say, we need to have that clearance for ADA compliance and other stuff, so.
Yeah, that's a good point.
There's about 5 flower pot, big ones about
Yep.
that high, on the corner with Sturgis, on the same side as Sturgis, but across the street there. But you can't see oncoming traffic. Because they're so high, and if you're in the car, you can't see what's coming up Main Street. They're pretty, but anyway. So there we go. Matters not reasonably anticipated by the chair. Is there anything, Jim, that you wanted to say, either staff-wise, or anything you wanted to say with regard to the meeting that we had?
No, I think you're, just quickly, the working group got together. They are moving towards, I think, a reasonable next step for the public art page of the design guidelines. Not quite there yet. I think maybe few tweaks, maybe need to do one more session with the group. But hopefully we have something well in advance of the joint meeting on the 25th.
Okay. Okay, so, I have my glasses on to go to the next part. Approval of the minutes. Hopefully everybody's read them. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve the minutes of October 16th.
Second?
Seconded. Okay, Commissioner Cronin? Commissioner Matthews?
Aye.
Commissioner Clark?
Aye.
Commissioner Doherty?
Aye.
Commissioner Wentworth? Aye. I also say aye. They are passed. Thank you very much, Karen, for your hard work on putting those together. Next HHDC meeting scheduled for November 20th and November 25th, and then the joint meeting on December 4th. You mentioned...
The 25th is your dream.
Oh, that's here, that's that way. God, I was just going to ask about that because it was said there. And December 4th. So the next R meetings are November 20th and December 4th. Then November 25th is the joint meeting. Okay, so...
What is December 4th?
That's our meeting.
Oh, that's the regular meeting, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I read it the same way.
And November 25th is what?
The joint meeting.
That's the joint meeting.
Joint
Where
meeting.
is that?
That will be in the,
hearing.
yeah, the hearing room.
In the big room.
All right. If anyone else does not have anything else to say, last chance. Okay, hope everybody had a happy Halloween and have recovered everything from yesterday. I will entertain a motion for adjournment, please.
Motion to adjourn.
Seconded? Okay. Commissioner Wentworth?
Aye.
Commissioner Doherty?
Aye.
Commissioner Clark? Aye. Commissioner Matthews?
Aye.
Commissioner Cronin?
Aye.
Quickie.
Aye. Thank you to staff for all of your hard work and help.
See the
And
ballots?
we are